Bookish friends, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, I'm Sierra, also known as C, and today we are going to be talking about my 10 before the end / my final month reflections. The final month of the year is upon us, which means it is the perfect time to reflect on the books that we've read, the books that we still want to read, and anything else that we want to wrap up before the new year begins. So get comfy and let's dive into my final month reflections and my 10 before the end. Let's begin with my 10 before the end. I think this challenge is really fun. I think some people might find it a bit restricting, but basically what it is you choose 10 books you want to finish before the end of the year. And some people don't like that because you want to go with the flow by the end of the year. I personally, because of all the hecticness of holidays and things like that, I like to have a plan going into the end of the year so that I don't have to spend time thinking about which book I'm going to pick up next. I just have those 10 before the end and I read those. Last year I did not finish them because I did get the whim to read other ones, and I don't restrict myself. I don't make it strict on myself either. Just do what you want, but I am excited to get into the 10 books I chose for the end of the year. So let's look at my list along with some thoughts on why those books made the cut. My first book on this list is Arcana Academy by Elise Kova. And this is because I borrowed it from my sister-in-law and I want to return it to her before the end of the year. I think I only borrowed it maybe end of October, but she hasn't really cared. She doesn't mind when I borrow books. She's just not in a rush for them, but I do want to give it back to her soon. My audiobook is almost ready for that. I want to fully experience it, so I'm going to listen to the audiobook while reading it. And Libby says soon, so I will be able to read this one super soon and return that to her. Second is Holly by Adeline Grace. I got this as a pre-order, so I was really excited to read it, but me and my friends decided we were going to buddy read it, and we wanted to wait for the holiday season. So this one is waiting for me. It's been staring at me from the shelf. I like this series a lot, so I want to get into this, but I'm waiting for that. But we are going to do it starting at the beginning of this month, so I will be able to read this super soon. Book number 3 I don't actually have here yet, and that is Seven Deadly Thorns by Amber Hamilton. So this book was chosen for the November Fairy Loot. I think it's the YA one. I have both YA and adult. The other one is Fallen City, which I've already read as an ARC, so I'm not rushing to that, obviously. But I want to leave off the year with very minimal fairy loots left to read. The December one probably won't come until a little bit late in December, so I'm not trying to rush myself to those. But this will be the last fairy loot I want to get done for 2025. Book number 4 would be The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. If you don't know, I don't really read a lot of romances. I got this a while ago because my friend convinced me, and I do genuinely want to read this, but it's just been put off for a while because I haven't been in a romantic mood. But I do think winter is like the most romancy season for me, so I want to read this this season and be able to finally say I've read The Love Hypothesis. Book number 5 would be Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. This is the book I'm most unsure of if I'll finish before the end of the year, just because this is the mass paperback version, and the text is small, the papers are thin, and this is already over 600 pages. This book intimidates me, but I got the set of these as a gift, and I do want to read them. So we're going to give it a try, and I hope I will finish it by the end of the year. Book number 6 will be A Fellowship of Bakers and Magic by Jay Penner. This looks like such a cozy, fun read, and I like winter to be very cozy. So I think if I warm up next to a fireplace and read this, it would be very, very sweet, and I'd be very happy with that. So this one I do want to read this season, and I do want to read before the end of the year. And book number 7 is A Fellowship of Librarians and Dragons by Jay Penner as well. This is the second book in that series, and this is the real reason I wanted to read this series, just because librarians and dragons are my favorite things, and then also cozy. So I want to read this one really bad. So I'm going to read that one, and then I'll read this one in this season, and hopefully by the end of the year. Book number 8 will be The Swan's Daughter by Roshani Chokshi. Okay, so this book comes out in January. I did get an ARC for it. It is my next ARC on my list, so I want to read that soon, so that way I can give my review before the new year. But I'm really enthused about this one. This one sounds so interesting. I think it might even possibly be up there for Fairy Loot's choice for January or December. I'm not sure, obviously, but I think that would be really cool if I did get that one because it sounds really good and I'm excited to read that one. Book number 9 will be The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. R.F. Kuang was a new to me author this year. I read Catabasis first from the Fairy Loot, and then I read Babel as a buddy read with one of my friends. And Poppy War is the one I want to start next. I do really want to get to this before the end of the year. However, I won't be upset because her works are a lot on the brain, and I love that about them. But I do kind of need the break for those cozy reads that I have coming up. So that is a possibility for the end of this year. Book number 10 will be Iron Flame by Rebecca Yarros. Okay, so I read Fourth Wing in November of 2024, so it's been over a year now since I read the first one, and I was really excited when I finished that book. I thought it was really interesting. I did love it. I think I gave it 4 or 5 stars. But since then, I felt like my excitement for it has just died down a lot. I don't feel very enthused about reading on in this series. I've seen other people's reviews for Onyx Storm, for Iron Flame, different things like that. But I think I get really influenced by other people's reviews. Whereas like when I finished the book, the ending was great. I was really interested in where the book would go next. But like a week after or so, I started realizing a couple things that just weren't my style of what I like in books. So my excitement has died down a bit, but I do want to give this a chance before the end of the year. I won't get upset if I don't read it before the end of the year, but I do want to try to. Okay, and that's it for my 10 before the end. So let's get into some final month reflections of this year. It has been an amazing year. I've had so many books that I loved this year and a few that I didn't. I attended Readers Nation. I attended my Las Vegas Book Festival. I did my first ever book crawl. There were a lot of great events, and I'm hoping a few more to round off the end of the year, including the little Christmas bookish party with some local bookstagrammers. But yeah, it's been amazing event-wise, book-wise. I've gotten a lot more ARCs recently than I ever did last year. I've been a part of new things like the Macmillan Early Listeners program. I just feel like this year I've really centered in and found my place, and am continuing to find my place, really. But it's just been beautiful trying to connect with the community in different ways, and I've had such a great time. So this year has been really great for me. Some of my favorite reads this year were Catabasis by R.F. Kuang, Fable for the End of the World by Ava Reed, The Creative Act by Rick Rubin, and the Shatter Me series by Tahira Mafi. I have thus far read, I think it's 162 books, which is already more than I read last year, so I'm really proud of that. However, going into the new year, I want to set a lower reading goal, just to take the pressure off of it. I want to make sure I'm spending a proper amount of time with each book that I read, and I'm really dedicating myself to learning the lessons from those books and getting a better understanding of humanity through those books. So I want to slow down a bit and really dedicate myself to them. For instance, with Babel, that took me like a month or 2, I think. It was a buddy read, but we also just really took our time with it, learning all the different things, finding all the foreshadowing and different things like that. And that just felt more enriching to me as a reader than some of these books I read in like a day or 2, and I just kind of rush through it. And I enjoy them, and some of them I do remember really, really well, and I did learn a lot from. But some of them I also just don't remember very well. So I want to make sure I'm dedicating the proper amount of time for each of these books in the new year. If you've watched my journaling series, you know that I've gotten rid of a few other things, including my monthly goals that I did this year. Just a few things that just felt like they were putting too much pressure on me as a reader, because this is supposed to be for fun. So you can see those if you haven't, and you'll know a little bit more about my goals and things that I'm changing there. But mostly still the same. I still have all my regular challenges, book bingo, etc. So I think it's going to be a great year, and I think I've really found some more things that work versus the things that don't work for me. At the same time that I don't want it to feel like a lot of pressure and be stressful to me, I am pretty ambitious and I love a challenge. So it's a little bit of a balance for me. I'm still trying to figure out what number I should go with for the new year. The part of me that doesn't want to stress says like do 50, get it done in the first half of the year, and then just don't stress anything after that. The more ambitious part of me is like maybe 100. I want to do like 200 books in a year, but that's not going to be feasible for me if this is me working my hardest and under pressure to read 161 or 162. So I want to set it to be both reasonable and fun, but also a little ambitious and a bit of a challenge. So I'm still working out what number would be good for me. We will have to wait to see if I get it right next year, but this year I did accomplish my goal and went over it. I think I was at 140 this year. Honestly, that might not be a super bad one to set for next year either. Just because I go over it this year doesn't mean I shouldn't. It doesn't work for me. It worked perfectly for me, so maybe 140 again, but I'm not sure yet. All right, friends, that is it for my 10 before the end and my final month reflections. I'd love to know in the comments what some of the books you want to finish before the end of the year are, and if you have any other challenges you're trying to wrap up before the end of the year. And if you have any recommendations for me, drop them in the comments, and let's finish this year strong together. And of course, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon if you want to get notified when I post. I'll be back soon with more bookish content. I will be doing a 2025 bookish wrap-up and a flip through of my final 2025 reading journal starting into the new year, but there will be some more videos, a little festive themed and whatnot throughout this month. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great end of your year filled with books and festivities. Until next time, happy reading. So stay tuned for that, and thank you so much for watching.